There was a slab outside the dining room door. He lifted me onto this, and as I sat there, he began to explore my body. I can remember the feel of his hand going under my clothes, going firmly, steadily, lower and lower. And I remember how I hoped he would stop, how I stiffened and wiggled as his hand approached my private parts. But it did not stop. I remember resenting, disliking it. Hi everybody, my name is Veronica, and today I will talk about sexual child abuse. Every day, somewhere in the world, a child loses its innocence. As parents, we want to protect our children, want them to grow up in a timely manner. With the lack of parental supervision and undivided care, the child is more prone to sexual child abuse. In a recent novel written by Margaret G. Smith, The Children of Neglect, When No One Cares, states that most recent figures indicated that 879,000 were victims of abuse and neglect in the year 2000. Of these, 62.8% were neglected, 19.3% were physically abused, and 10.1% were sexually abused. Now, when we're looking at this percentage, it is much lower than any others, and that explains the funding for research. Growing up with my mom always being gone to work, I was always taken care of by her boyfriend, which was an eye-opening experience of how easily a child can be taken advantage of. Today, I would like to share useful information that can help parents overcome the struggles and barriers between them and their children's life. Also provide facts about the occurrences of child abuse and how you can tell if a child being sexually maltreated. First, let's begin with some useful facts about sexual child abuse. How do people commit child abuse, and why do they do it? First, we have the people that tend to get close with the children. People who want to abuse children often build a relationship with the child and caring adults who want to protect them. Many are good at making friends with children and those who are close to them. On the other hand, there are people that can silence the children when trying to commit this type of abuse. People who usually sexually abuse may offer them gifts or treats, sometimes combine these treats with about what will happen if this child says no or tells someone. They may make the child afraid of being hurt physically, but more usually the treat is about what may happen if they tell. Sometimes the abuser will make the child believe that he or she enjoyed it and wanted it to happen. There may be other reasons why a child stays silent and doesn't tell. Very young and disabled children may lack the words or means of communication to let people know what is going on. Many people tend to become sexual predators due to their own background, either being abused themselves or feeling an interest in girls or boys. It's not easy to understand how seemingly ordinary people can do such horrible things. Some people who sexually abuse they know that it is the wrong thing to do, and others are okay with it. Knowing why people sexually abuse children does not excuse their behavior, but it may help us understand what is happening. If abusers face the reality of what they're doing and can come forward, if someone reports them, effective treatment programs are available. Or someone helps them understand the behavior, reducing risk to children and building a safer society is the #1 key. Now that we have examined ways children can come into contact with sexual abuse and the purpose of abusers doing what they do, we can move forward to studying the signs of sexually being abused children. What are the signs, you may ask, of being sexually abused? Children who are involved in sexually abuse tend to keep it secret and hide the proof. Growing up, I had a friend whose father seemed like the perfect dad to be. However, I did not know that every time I would see her, I was seeing new bruises on her. And this was not from a soccer practice. This was for forcefully pleasing her dad to be. One of the biggest signs that indicate inappropriate acts happening in a child's life is suffering to approach these acts with intimacy or care for another person. This can also go the other way, and the child can become overly attached to another person, causing dependence and troubles in the long run. Depending on the age of the child that is being maltreated, and the friends around this child would indicate if the signs of this happening are understandable or visible to others. In addition, should we not all want to comprehend what a child may be going through to help or save their life? If we can pinpoint sexual child abuse, we can learn about how to prevent the sinful act. How can you prevent sexual child abuse? Well, Margaret Smith, who wrote the novel Children of Neglect When No One Cares, offers ways to decrease the chances of sexually being abused. Noted in her novel, research shows that parents and caregivers who care to support family, friends, neighbors, and their communities are more likely to provide a safe and healthy environment for the child. By having a child surrounded by love and care, the child is less likely to get in touch with the wrong people. Another credible source comes from Child Abuse Towards a Knowledge Base by Brian Corby. This novel adds the top preventative for sexual child abuse. It clearly mentions, do not assume this form is only violent, but assume that it is beyond the physical measures. In conclusion, I would like to let you know that in this generation, sexual child abuse remains the #1 form of abuse that hides from being known. Many children fear for this because they do not want their reputation to be known. Throughout community, we should partake in programs and preventive organizations that can help us educate our children and us from this happening. As I close this speech, I would like to end it with an honest statement and a personal experience. Help those that cannot help themselves. Thank you.